distinction between combat arms units and support units in the military. The question is, do you think that combat units will treat gay people differently than non-combat units or support units? And it's a question that's coming up in some of the political talk. They think that a unit like mine, I'm an infantry officer, I was an infantry officer. I went through the airborne, air assault scout leader, went to ranger school and did all of the combat, basically the grunts. People, we just shoot stuff. And that's blow shit up is what we say. Okay? So that's what it means, like the mentality. So, you know, in my unit, they don't allow women to serve. So there's still gender discrimination in certain branches and certain units in the military. And people wonder what would happen. Well, I went back to my unit. What do you think happened? I was pretty out, I suppose, people could say, going on TV. I went to the training and the marksmanship, and we had showers, and we were in the bunks. You know, a lot of people, they think that, especially in the infantry unit, oh, they must be so homophobic because they're so, you know, I'm so macho, I'm so tough. And they assume that a unit like mine is just going to implode, right? And you've heard some of the arguments like unit cohesion. Anybody heard that? Okay, unit cohesion, I have to explain this a little bit because unit cohesion is not an actual term that's used in doctrine. It's something that's created for the political discussion. Unit cohesion issues were used, particularly in combat units, for black soldiers integrating, for Jews, for women, for Irish Catholics. They said that they would never, white soldiers would never listen to the orders of a black officer. They said that they wouldn't want to be in the shower together. They wouldn't want to, because they said that, oh, black people are just sexually deviant. That's what they said back in the 40s. And they took polls and they asked people, what do you think about black people? What do you think about Jews? What do you think about all of this? And they used the same arguments. They said they're not going to be comfortable. And that's what unit cohesion means to a lot of people. Comfort. Let me break it down to you. They assume that these strong, straight, supposedly straight, soldiers come back from war, almost got killed. Some of their buddies got killed. They could tough through all that, but they come back home and they get all scared and nervous because what? Because of the shower situation. And they say, oh my God, this gay guy is going to what? Let me break it down. Let's talk, down. Let's dissect this. The bottom line is they're afraid that the gay guy is going to look at the straight guy's wiener. I mean, isn't that what it is? You don't want to be checking, you don't want to be checking them out. Oh. What if I'm not appealing to him? What if I'm not pleasing to his eye? I'm trying to dissect what this means, the comfort level, because that's really what it gets down to, that these certain people are going to be less comfortable than others. And when I went back to my unit, as an infantry unit, what do you think happened? Oh, you all say that you're homosexual activists. You always say nothing happened, nothing happened, nothing happened. Well, something happened, bottom line. It was pretty shocking, pretty different, stunning. Huge impact. We woke up, after we went to the rifle range, and we were in our bunks 3 feet away from each other. We all woke up, and everybody, 100% of the unit, became gay. Every single one of us. We woke up in the morning and said, I'm gay. And they said, sir, I'm gay too. And we all started singing show tunes. That's what happened. We all started dancing on the poles. What do you think the favorite song was, everybody? Don't you wish your girlfriend was like me? Some of you just get it. Okay. We're trying to be fun with this. Okay, but that's really what people are afraid of. They're afraid that all of a sudden, everybody's going to become gay. And we're going to have gay sex in the barracks. OMG. There's going to be a big gay orgy. I was like, okay, yeah, so that's what happened, people. That's really what happened. Yeah, and I believe in full equality. So you know what? These people were tops and then these people was bottoms. And we were working in shifts. We were working in shifts, people. I was going from 10 to 12. You're going to be a top from 12 to 2. You're going to be a bottom. And I wanted to be cross-trained people on weapon systems. So I said, you're going to be versatile. You're going to need to know this, because what happens in combat? believe in full equality. Some people will have a difficult time. And you can look at other countries and they'll say the same thing, that certain units will have polling and they'll say, okay, well, who's going to quit? In Canada, you said 60% of people, a good 60% were going to quit, up and leave if gay people were allowed to serve. It was only a few years ago. And when they finally repealed their discrimination, how many people ended up quitting? 2 people. Not 60%, but 2 people. One was retiring anyway. So he was like, I'm going to retire. And it's because of you gay people! And then another one, that one person that actually quit because ideologically in a time of war. In a time of war, you're going to quit your team because somebody's going to look at your wiener in the shower. I wonder if that's the person that you want on your team who's going to quit in a time of war. So I don't think that certain units are going to be less professional than others to deal with it. I have anecdotal evidence from me personally, but I know across the board there are many people who are serving openly, and you don't have to look at all the 28 countries. Great Britain, Canada, Australia, Israel, who's surrounded by people who don't want Israel to exist. They allow people, they get partner benefits. They're going to have same-sex partners go into the ball. Not a problem. So why is it, and even in Great Britain, they allowed for gender reassignment operations, for transgender people to serve. And we're here, we can't even talk about it. We say, oh, well, don't ask, don't tell, it's just for LGBT people. But so many of this world is progressing and realizing that you need to judge people based on talent. There's another argument here that I think we really have to acknowledge. And maybe there are sometimes people who are uncomfortable. And I will always point to stigmatized minorities and scapegoated minorities, whether they're people who are immigrants or people who are poor or people who are homeless, people who are of certain religions, people who wear certain clothes, people who are gay, people who act certain ways, whatever. There's always going to be those people. If you think right now in the military, we are fighting 2 wars in Islamic countries. Islamic countries after 9/11, where at Ground Zero we're having this incendiary talk about mosque or Islamic center 2 blocks from Ground Zero, even though there was a mosque inside of the World Trade Center. We're having this talk. We're talking about burning Korans. We're talking about all, you'd think that after Major Hassan kills 13 people in a massacre at Fort Hood, yelling Allahu Akbar, you would think that of all of the stigmatized groups in America that soldiers would be uncomfortable around. Who would it be? It would be Muslims. But they don't tell Muslims that they have to stay in the closet. They don't say to Muslims that you have to keep your Quran out of the showers or wherever. They say, for Muslims, for Muslim Americans, we want your talent. We want people who are culturally literate, who understand in a counterinsurgency environment that we're going to judge you based on what you can provide, what you can do for the team. You're a patriotic American, and we judge you based on that. And that's the thing. If your leaders are saying it, from the very top all the way down to the very bottom, then it's not going to be a problem. But when you have a president right now who can't get off his ass to do something about don't ask, don't tell, who continues to talk rhetoric, I want it done this way, I want it done by the Congress, I want it done after the election, I want this study, because I need to know if discrimination is against American creeds or not. If the president actually picked up the phone before the cloture vote and asked 1 or 2 senators, particularly the Democrats who voted against repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, or maybe called one of those Republicans, then maybe he could have been like President Johnson during the Civil Rights Act, when people were telling those people, go to Congress, go to Congress, go to Congress. I say fuck Congress. You need to have the president, you need to have people from the top saying, this is what I want. I am not going to appeal what this court said. They're the only branch of the government right now that's been doing, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but they're the only branch of the government that's doing their job, filling their mandate to the Constitution, saying this is unconstitutional. And the president's saying that he wants to revive Don't Ask, Don't Tell, he wants to bring it back from the dead, resurrect it, give it mouth to mouth. Something's wrong with the president who says this and doesn't do this. And I think I'm right to be angry, because if you want to get repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell,